Welcome to episode 2 of the Bear Trap on the Boomer Bust channel. This is a podcast where Bears talk by a Chicago Bears fan. Today I want to look at the defensive side of the ball and kind of talk about my thoughts on it. So let's just go through some of the position groups and see where we currently are. Starting with that secondary. The Bears secondary has been plagued for a long time. I mean, we haven't had really any star players since Peanut Tillman. And then before him, we had Mike Brown at safety. So we've never been a stellar cast at the secondary position, even when we were at our best. For some reason, it's always been about the front. So currently we got Prince Amukamara, who is becoming sort of a journeyman. We got him out of free agency. He started off with the New York Giants, of course, but has been bouncing around a little bit and has become a little bit of injury prone, but he's been playing since he's been back. Then we got Marcus Cooper, who came through free agency, who was kind of a rotational guy in Kansas City, but before he left had a year where he kind of showed off what he could do. And then, of course, you got Kyle Fuller, our former number 1 draft pick, who just hasn't lived up to that status at all until this year, where he's actually showing that he can do some things, but definitely has some limitations. Then we go to our safeties. Adrian Aimost, a young player, believe this is his 3rd year. And then you got Eddie Jackson, who is our young rookie safety out of Bama. And then we got a whole host of safeties that don't really play, aren't really good, and usually hurt. So, but those are the main 2. And then, Quentin Demps, of course, who actually, is activated, not playing, this week, but probably, will be coming back soon. A free agency veteran pickup who is kind of at the end of his rope, to be honest with you. So overall, our secondary, like I said, nothing stellar. I think the man-to-man coverage has been better this year than it's been in a while, last few seasons, because you do have some veterans who know the tricks. But overall, we're so unathletic, I think it doesn't really matter. Our corners, we can't hold up against any real speed. Those people that give a slight double move and then are gone, they're going to burn us every time. Even Kyle Fuller, when he's playing at his best, his number 1 limitation is his speed. And so even when he's being physical and he's doing great technique, it's hard for him to stay on top of a receiver. Most of the plays you see him break up is when the ball's underthrown, because he's always playing underneath. Now, some people will tell you that's where a corner should be. That's where you should be until you get a quarterback who can actually put the ball in front. Then it's like, well, he got burnt. So that's the lack of athleticism is always kind of our thing. And then with the safeties, they're just not dynamic. Eddie Jackson is athletic. Yes, he's instinctual, but he's young. He wasn't that much of a defensive impact at Alabama, more so than he was a returner. And he's a former, offensive player. And then Adrian Aimost, he's moving to his more natural strong safety position. I thought it was a mistake to move him to free safety when they drafted him, because he played a lot of in the box his last year at Penn State. And I think he's better coming downhill. I think he's definitely a solid, serviceable guy. But the knock on him was that he hasn't got any turnovers since he's been here, which, you can't put all on him. But, like I said, our safeties aren't exactly dynamic right now. And then going to our linebacker crew, man, I mean, Jarrell Freeman and Danny Trevathan, gigantic pickups. They are probably 2 of the more dynamic linebackers in the league, but Jarrell Freeman has had his injury issues with us. So has Danny Trevathan. Freeman, was gone week 1, but Trevathan has been on and off. So then that comes the rise of Nick Kwiatkowski and Christian Jones, 2 young players. Christian Jones, he was either 7th round or undrafted. I remember him in Florida State. Undersized guy, quick guy, just not really what you think of in the middle linebacker, but has shown that he has a lot of heart, a lot of pursuit, and he has been playing well. Nick Kwiatkowski, another young guy, wasn't highly sought after in the draft, but is a really solid linebacker. And I really do like those two. So, we have our injury problems, especially because Nick Kwiatkowski has been injured too. But I think with Christian Jones and Danny Trevathan playing, we do have solid ability to cover the ball, and we got good ability to attack the run game. But that's only when the defensive front is holding up blocks, because with Trevathan and Christian Jones, they aren't the best at getting off blocks. Jarrell Freeman was pretty good at it for Mike Backer, but as far as the two we got now, and even Nick Kwiatkowski, we're not the best at getting off blocks. So when they're clean, they're really impactful in the run game. And then, of course, in the passing game, I think Danny Trevathan is one of the better zone cover linebackers. And so then we go to the front. Leonard Floyd out for the year. Pernell McPhee has been injury prone since he's got here, kind of holding back the star potential he had coming from Baltimore. Akeem Hicks is a superstar to me. I thought so last year, and really he's on the big stage this year. The man's block shedding ability is absolutely amazing. And so after bouncing around between the Saints and the Patriots, he lands with us, and we really see him, kind of grow into a dominant force. Then you got Eddie Goldman, who was a very respected, draft pick when he came out, has been held back from injuries the last few years, but finally on the field. And when he's on the field, you see that he is that nose tackle that can hold the point of attack and allow our linebackers to get around. And then we got a rotation, Mitch Unrein. We got, Jonathan Bullard. I think Robbie Harris was hurt. So, I honestly, those two are the most stable fixtures between Goldman and Akeem Hicks. So the rest of it is kind of rotational, but that's kind of the thing. We don't have that third guy that kind of demands to be on the field with those other two. So that's kind of looking at where we are. Now, what do I think we need going forward? I think the number one thing the defense should prioritize is corner. And you know what? I've been saying that for so long, even before we got Kyle Fuller. And even when we got Kyle Fuller, I thought he should have been moved to safety. If you know anything about Kyle Fuller in college, he played safety and corner, but it was a year that the linebackers were so hurt that he ended up playing almost a whole year at linebacker and did pretty well. So people being shocked that he can tackle and all that's something he can do. It's just, I think if you would have gave him the safety position right away, he would have been in that mentality and he would have been hitting and coming downhill. But kind of playing corner in the league has kind of made him soft, and he doesn't have the speed to do it. So anyway, I think we need to get corners or pass rush. And here's the thing that I'm hearing a lot of people say is that Leonard Floyd's gone now, so we don't have a pass rush. We don't have that much of a pass rush with Leonard Floyd. Yes, it's true Leonard Floyd is our best pass rusher. That doesn't mean that he's great or that our pass rush is great. That's the number one thing. When you're in a 3-4, or if you're in any scheme, the best thing you can say is that we don't need to blitz to create pressure, because now you can play games, you can max zone, you can do a lot of different things in coverage. Either you want to be able to say we don't need to blitz to create pressure, or you want to be able to say our 2-man corners are going to shut down whoever you got out here, and so we don't have to play max zone. And so if you don't got one of those two things, you kind of middling, and that's what I think the Bears are doing right now. So I would like to see a dynamic corner, and you don't even need two. Like, Denver is nice when you can have two. Even when Denver is bad, having those two corners really makes that defense tough. But just one, One where you can say, all right, follow the best receiver, or if you want to say stay on the right side and just lock down whoever's the number one receiver. That allows you to roll coverage and do a lot of different things that can help the rest of the defense compensate for, the lack of talent. Other than that, then get another pass rusher. I think Pernell McPhee and Willie Young, for that point, are serviceable vets that can play the run tough and show a lot of passion and pursuit and pass rush. They're not the best at it, but they're always going to be moving with a motor. So I think you rotate those two guys in and you find somebody opposite Leonard Floyd that can actually get after it. And Leonard Floyd, I don't want to knock him. He's got the motor, he's got the get off, he's got the size, the length, all that. It's just his technique is not there. And he didn't get any favors in Georgia having to move around to different positions. So his technique isn't there yet. And so while he has all those things, he's still getting to the point where he's able to get off better blockers. And so if we can find a top-notch pass rusher opposite him, that's really going to turn the juice up, because right now all I got to do is slide my extra protection to Leonard Floyd, and it don't even have to be long. I could just give a quick chip block or show a tight end and, quick release him to slow up the pass rush, because Leonard Floyd isn't amazing. And so if you get some balance on the other side and let them both get in one-on-one matchups, then we can start talking. And then deeper than that, I do think we need another disruptor on the D-line. Now, it's not easy to go find a Akeem Hicks, but you want to find somebody that can move bodies. Someone like a Chris Jones in Kansas City. He was not the greatest prospect, and that's more so because of his mental attitude, but he wasn't the greatest prospect. But if you get a big body guy that can move people and get off blocks in the run game, it's just the run game. Like, it's rare to have a JJ Watt in a 3-4 that can just pass rush from that spot. Even a Joey Bosa and all of them, they can do it, but they twist and stun a lot. I'm talking straight one-on-one pass rush. JJ Watt can do that. It's rare to find that. Really what you need is guys that get off blocks in the zone run game and the one-on-one blocks in the run game. Because when you play behind the line, it allows your linebackers to flow, make big plays, and get your opponents into third and longs. Then you can bring in speed rushers and get after the quarterback. So that's the formula you want. So I'm really looking at them to get a defensive end to complement Akeem Hicks. I'm looking at them to get a pass rusher to complement Leonard Floyd, or get you a premium number one corner that can really go out there and shut somebody down. Now, if it's a rookie, we don't expect that right away, but maybe out of free agency. I think those are the three key parts that you want to get. While Gerald Freeman might be here, might not, I think our young guys in Christian Jones and Nick Kwiatkowski healthy are good enough to where if that front is built right, we can play with those two as our linebackers. All right. So that was kind of my real quick summary. Well, not so quick, but the quick summary of the Bears defensive unit. Definitely go to the comment section. Tell me what you think about the Bears. Who's our best player? Who's our worst player on defense? What do you think we should draft or go for in free agency? Do me a favor. If you like the Bears talk, definitely thumbs up, subscribe, share it out so we can grow the channel. And thank you for listening.